Out of the gates and ready to go. Hot Mike with Head and Withrow. Glad you're with us. Joe Rogan out at the UFC. No Caitlin Clark. It's been a disaster for the women's NCAA tournament. And we've got Colorado and UNC. Well, kind of. It's Dion and Belichick in the spring. Maybe more than that. It's all straight ahead right here on Hot Mike Head and Withrow. Hope you'll join us in the chat and like and subscribe to the OutKick channel. Chad, it's a big time period right now for the UFC. They are about to enter a negotiation window for the rights that will come up in April. And numbers have been down recently at ESPN Plus, the streaming services. They've had complaints about the quality of the broadcast with the streaming, specifically with ESPN, and they want the numbers to go up. They want to get paid more for the rights to air their product. Well, ESPN told Major League Baseball to GTFO. The star is Joe Rogan, and he's the star. He's been there since 1997. I mean, he's great as the analyst. He doesn't go outside. He doesn't travel overseas. He doesn't go to London and do all those shows. He stays in the States. He has in the past gone to Canada, and, well, he's not doing that anymore.
Unbelievable, man. I'm super impressed.
Montreal, UFC 315, May 10th.
Wow. I won't be there. I don't go to Canada anymore. I don't. No, nor should you. No, discipline. Yeah, I'd rather go to Russia. Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
When they become the U.S., you never know.
That's never going to happen. That's so crazy to ask them to be the 51st state. I had a conversation with Trump about it. He goes, I started calling him Governor Trudeau just for fun, and a lot of people were saying it's a good idea. Like, maybe it is a good idea.
I mean, he's long before this decision, Chad, he's not traveled overseas for the pay-per-view events, the big money fight cards. And without Rogan, it's good, not great. And Rogan makes the pay-per-views great.
Well, it's hard to tell the complete tone of this. Like, he wasn't going to go anyways, but now he's kind of making it a joke about tyrannical Canada and why he doesn't go.
Yeah, this is much right. He's been to Toronto before, like for some big, big fights.
I never thought I'd say this about Joe Rogan, but DBAP. I mean, we're not going to Canada.
Well, he makes his own schedule.
Yeah, but I mean, Canada? Am I the only one that just has a hard time taking Canada seriously in anything? Them getting upset about being the 51st state, I find it to be hilarious.
Me too.
Because it's a joke. Whoever he's on the podcast with was laughing about it too, being the 51st state. It's never going to happen.
Governor.
We're not invading Canada anytime soon. And I just think you're giving Canada too much respect by boycotting a trip to Canada. Like, they're not going to do anything to you in Canada. It's Canada.
Well, I think he doesn't like traveling anyway.
Right.
So,
So he just uses it as a chance to make a political statement.
Yeah, but yes. But, he doesn't travel to do his podcast anywhere. You got to go to him.
Oh, no. And I get it. That's great. I mean, if you have earned that lifestyle and you're that successful, have everybody come to your house and do the podcast with you.
But I say the UFC
I'm all for that.
Yeah, he does.
It's just
states
he's
only.
making it into I'm not traveling to tyrannical Canada. It's Canada. Like, I don't want to pay Canada enough respect.
I wonder.
Don't pay Canada enough respect to boycott travel into Canada. If you don't want to go to Canada, I'm fine with that. I don't want to go to Canada. I'm not going to Canada. But if I was paid to do a UFC event and they wanted me in Canada, I wouldn't want the reason to be, boy, I really hate that Justin Trudeau and some of their policies, so I'm going to boycott Canada. Who cares? You're giving Canada too much respect.
Well,
they're not worthy of a travel boycott.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you said he wasn't going to begin with. But I'd tell you this: Dana White wants him there because the level of the card, it's up and on. The fight cards like on a Saturday night on ESPN. Rogan's not calling those fights. He's not doing the full slate. They leave. Cormier does a lot. Bisping, Felder, Cruz. There are others that work in there. It's just not the same. There's a buzz and a feel to it when Conor McGregor is fighting Poirier and Rogan's octagon side. That's not going to be the case at 315.
Well, Dana White is the biggest fan of President Trump there is. I mean, he speaks on his behalf. They're buddies. They do this and that. And he's hosting an event in Canada.
Oh, yeah. He's going to
I think if he's
records.
hosting an event in Canada, it's okay for Joe Rogan to also go to Canada if he wants to. And if he doesn't, don't do it. But don't make it about the politics of Canada. Who gives a shit about Canada and their politics? I certainly don't.
Yeah,
Canada's no threat. They're no threat to their own people. They're no threat to the United States. Go to Canada or don't go to Canada. I don't really care. But this is a DBAT moment for me with Joe Rogan that I never thought I was going to experience because I do not believe him to be a P. I believe him to be more than that, but this is a DBAT for me with him.
Or maybe the tyrannical.
Are 18-year-olds in Buffalo, New York, going to boycott going across the Niagara Falls to the better strip clubs
they're gonna
on the
have,
Canadian side because they also oppose Justin Trudeau and his policies? Yeah. I mean,
that's when they want to be in that pussy.
End?
They don't want to. Don't be a pussy.
Where does it end? Now, if you want to cut out maple syrup, I've always stood behind that boycott. But traveling to Canada because of this, come on.
Maybe we're making too much of a deal of it. Tyrannical Canada.
It's a bridge too far.
What Rogan, Rogan doesn't do things unless he, feels like it. And Dana White absolutely wants him. Dana will stage a fight anywhere, like during COVID. He was the one that got us sports and wagering, by the way. A great example, during COVID, Chad, you and I are hosting a sports talk show, and the state of Tennessee just voted through online gambling, online sports wagering. That saved a lot of jobs because of the money and the push for advertising during that time frame on radio, on sports talk radio. And it was Dana White and UFC that actually gave us something live to bet on. So they didn't pause any of the ads. I'll never forget him just saying, "We're going to Jacksonville. Join us in Florida, or don't." But we're gonna air these. ESPN wavered a little bit, but they did it, and that was some of their highest ratings.
Yeah.
Now they're down. Sounds like Netflix was after it.
Yeah,
and Warner Brothers.
I have a Canadian couple that lives next door to me. Just had their first child. Lovely couple. One from Toronto. One from outside.
Do they fly their flag?
Calgary.
Calgary.
No, they don't want to live in Canada. They want to live in the United States because of Canada right now. But
did they boo you when you backed out of your driveway?
No, they're lovely people. Like I don't have a big issue with Canadians in general.
No,
they're lovely people. But again, and I'm not trying to offend my neighbors when I say this. I'm not going to them when we have them over for drinks on a Friday night, really getting into the politics of their country because I don't care.
Yeah, that's the same, man.
I don't care. Like there is a threshold of things that everybody can care about, and I just don't care about Canadian politics enough. Joe Rogan's an interesting guy. Clearly, he cares about Justin Trudeau and Canadian politics. I don't. Yeah. So go to Canada or don't. Don't care. If you want to contribute to UFC and be a big part of their pay-per-view, go take the paycheck to do it. All of that. If you want to stay home in Austin, Texas, and host your podcast and do whatever the hell you want at all times, then do that too, man. I'm all good with it either way.
I'm just connecting this a bit. Final thought here on this. Trump should go because he loves UFC.
I think the Trump...
UFC is a Trump audience anyway.
Gigging Justin Trudeau constantly and calling him Governor Trudeau is almost the funniest thing that Donald Trump has done since referring to Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas, which is the funniest thing that I think he's ever done. That's the funniest of the Trump nicknames. Governor Trudeau is right there. But I can laugh about it. My Canadian neighbors laugh about it when I ask them about Governor Trudeau.
Chad, there's no laughing for the women's NCAA tournament with Juju out with the torn ACL. And consider the buzz around this time last year to now, even with Juju playing. I mean, there's not that buzz, and now USC is definitely. I would say I don't know. The top seed's always advanced. It seems they're not going to win the championship, and many don't think they're making the Final Four.
Well, Caitlin Clark was such a huge boom to the whole deal of not just women's basketball, I'd say women's sports. Got a huge boost from Caitlin Clark and that phenomenon over the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament. That phenomenon carried over to the WNBA, where the WNBA has never been more successful than when Caitlin Clark was playing for the Indiana Fever this past season in her rookie season. Ratings were through the roof. I mean, it was fun to watch in the NCAA tournament. That momentum, at least from ESPN and others, was expected to carry over, not equally, but to some extent because the next great women's basketball star, Juju Watkins. Juju Watkins is terrific. Through 2 seasons, she's on pace to break Caitlin Clark's scoring record for all of NCAA. She's awesome. And I saw that clip. I'm not watching the game live, but I saw the clip last night of her crumpling to the court, trying to make a move on a fast break 5 minutes into the game. And you just knew, boy, that's bad.
Yeah.
You knew by her reaction, it's bad. It's probably a season ender, and MRI results come back toward an ACL, out for the season, going to be out for at least part of next season also. Just awful for the women's game. And I'm not rooting against the women's game. I want the women's NCAA tournament to do well and all those things. But I think what we found out in that Caitlin Clark phenomenon, that Angel Reese had a small part of because it was a great rivalry between those two, because the trash talk back and forth. It's a sport that needs a gigantic superstar, and Juju Watkins is all over the place. She's in commercials. Everyone knows who she is. Not like Caitlin Clark, but everyone knows who she is. So to lose a superstar of that magnitude going into the Sweet 16, where I know now USC will play Kansas State, had a chance to play UConn with Juju Watkins, which was going to be a gigantic matchup in the Elite Eight. That matchup loses pretty much all of its luster now. And Hutton, I get a hard time getting overly excited about any of the teams left or the players in the NCAA women's tournament. And it just goes to show it's a sport that's reliant on a superstar.
Well,
and that's what Caitlin Clark showed us.
Think of what Caitlin Clark means right now to Juju Watkins. She's likely going to keep all of her endorsements. Mm-hmm. You know, like 3 years ago, you have the ACL right here. What happens to those NIL endorsements? I'm just thinking out loud, like the impact of Caitlin Clark on women's basketball in the NCAA. I think that's maybe not going unnoticed, but it's not like she's got better than 50-50 odds to continue the career at a high level, and still make money while she's rehabbing. That's huge for her.
There's
with the national brand that she's partnered with.
There's a lot of thought that she's just going to take all of next season off and then come back for 1 year. I don't think she has to do that. I mean, ACL recoveries are much faster now. I feel like
that means she's going straight to the WNBA.
Well, I mean, I know it's late in the process and all that, but I feel like if she really wanted to get back, she could be back in January of next year and miss the preliminary part and play Big Ten play for USC later in the season.
Got to get to the East Coast with Jaden Daniels.
What's the urgency now to get to the WNBA? I mean, I don't know. Is there a bigger push now to get there, or do you realize now that I can make money in NIL in college, I'm going to make more of the same?
Yeah, but I think while
I'm here,
the money is going to continue to pour in with Caitlin Clark and where she is compared to. I mean, again, I couldn't tell you another player on Iowa's roster last year. I can't tell you who's remaining in the tournament this year.
Kate Martin. That's the one girl I remember. I think I drafted in the WNBA and plays for a different team. I think that was her name for Iowa last year. That's the one I could come up with. Caitlin Clark to Juju Watkins. Injury, very unfortunate. Juju Watkins has to hand off the baton to some other superstar. I just feel like now we're in this rotation of, is there someone in the women's game that by word of mouth or by online buzz pulls a lot of people that otherwise would not be watching women's basketball to the television to watch it? That's what Caitlin Clark did for me. I was watching Iowa games throughout the tournament because she was such a draw.
Going for the record, yeah.
I want to be that way about Juju Watkins. Admittedly, I have not been, but would I have watched more if it was UConn, USC, and it was well promoted, and it was Juju versus that team and Gino Auriemma? Yeah. I think I would have been into that.
Yeah.
But now I'm not.
Same. Yeah, it's jarring when you think about what we were leading shows with last year to this year.
Yeah.
Like this year, we're talking spring practice. Dion, he said it before Belichick did, but Bill Belichick needs to shout about the joint practices now too with a common opponent with a contractual agreement, whatever it may be, moving forward with the idea that Colorado's going to have some joint practices with another program, and then they will stage a spring game to end the week. It's Syracuse that jumped at the opportunity, but it was UNC that behind the scenes Colorado was talking to about getting something done here. Let's get this done in a matter of weeks, because right now the NCAA can pass this on April 10th, and we could see this next year. And when they have this vote, and you've got Deion, Belichick, and then whoever else wants to jump in, not everybody has to participate, Chad, but Deion's impact on college football is pretty cool. I mean, they filed paperwork to get this passed, and now we wait on the NCAA to vote on it. I think it likely passes because there's no downside to this, including those who have the transfer, recruiting, poaching fears, because I think we're going to see the transfer portal window close in this time of year, or they'll move it to a different part. And you're not going to see the scramble and the fear of, someone's going to see how good our backup wide receiver or backup corner is, and Deion's going to poach him, have him over Colorado. Deion's not afraid of that.
Spring game will be televised. ESPN2 will broadcast spring game on the 19th. We got to sell this thing out and pack this thing, because the way the trend is going, you never know if this is going to be the last spring game. I don't believe in that. I don't really want to condone that. I would like to play the spring. Actually, I'd like to play against another team in the spring. That's what I'm trying to do right now, to have it competitive. Playing against your own guys kind of get monotonous, and you really can't tell the level of your guys, because, it's the same old. Everybody kind of know each other towards the end. I would like to style it like the pros. I would like to practice against someone for a few days, then you have the spring game. And I think the public will be satisfied with that tremendously. I think it's a tremendous idea. Yeah, I've told those personnel who should understand that it's a tremendous idea.
It is. I mean, we've discussed this, right? I just didn't think you're going to have the push. And by Colorado going with Syracuse, it's really going to pick up steam now, because that's Sanders initially thinking Belichick was going to be involved, which would be fun, Colorado UNC. But now you get Prime going with Fran Brown, and Deion just elevated the profile of Syracuse and their head coach. And the same will happen to the next program that wants to call on Bill Belichick and UNC, because Belichick is next in line to decide who to partner with here. Here's why there's no downside. Everyone benefits here. Programs choosing to participate will gain exposure through the TV networks. And again, you don't have to participate. You're going to win by attracting a college football audience throughout the spring. The university is going to make money during a time where they need more revenue to pay for the cap. The players are likely to earn even more through NIL through this. We as college football fans, we're going to benefit. I'm going to watch this stuff. I'm not watching the average spring gathering or whatever they want to say, the drills. Coaches see their players compete at a level that's hard to replicate in practice this time of year. That's another factor. Officials can work in the offseason rule changes. You can implement that in real time with players and coaches. Apparel companies sell a spring jersey, and you donate so much money to NIL or whatever you want to do to the university, you get the jersey off the back of the player if you want. Sports books. Would we see wagering on this? Would we see Colorado, Syracuse, maybe the spread's like -2.5? Is that possible? Or, I don't know what the line would be. I think everybody would be involved with this, and I would be scared of the poaching. That's already happening. It's happening in the middle of the season. So
I love it.
Give it to us.
I think it's a great idea. Asking the question why versus asking the question why not.
Yes.
That's Deion Sanders to me. One thing I appreciate about the guy is, and he said, hey, it's a terrific idea. I've told the people in charge it's a terrific idea and we should do it. But when someone floats an idea or wants to try something, you got the two types of responses. The person who will always say, well, why? And why would I want to do the extra work, or why would I want to do this, or why would I want to check with that person, or why would I want to go to this effort, whatever it is, whatever that why is, versus the person who responds by saying, why not? We've tried it the other way. It's going downhill. Most college programs don't want to do it anymore. So why not? Why not have a pro-style system where you get together for 3 practices over the course of a few days, and then you play a spring game head-to-head in the end of it? I love it. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
The programs that could match up that are close to each other, that don't normally play each other, or it could be a great opportunity in state for other state schools to play that normally maybe wouldn't get a regular season game against someone that's an inferior opponent, but it's still better than just, as Hutton said, the spring celebration or, a limbo contest or whatever it is Ole Miss is going to do. Water gun fights.
Yeah.
I don't know what all they do now. Shuttle race.
Dizzy bat races.
Yes. Playing, lacrosse instead of football. I don't know what these teams do.
50-plus field goals count as 5 points.
But even if it turns into, fours versus fours in the game.
Well, you get ones and ones in this.
At least you get 2 different uniforms on the field against each other, and it looks different, and it's fun.
And the practices are being overlooked here. We're looking at the game. The ones versus ones at practice is really where you benefit in the league, in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the fun's going to be.
Yeah.
And you could sell tickets to that. By the way, you better believe everyone's going to be selling tickets to this. This isn't like the $5 ticket. This will be staged as more on behalf of the fund. Everyone's going to donate.
We also already know that school doesn't exist in college sports anymore. So
of course not.
These guys can go to Boulder, Colorado for 4 days and hang out and, hit the bar scene at night if they want. What a great trip.
Yeah.
If you're a college athlete, to go to someone else's campus and hang out with other football players and, hit the town. I'm all for it.
1 month from Monday, is the NFL draft. And Cam Ward, all but solidified the fact he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Maybe he's going to be. And very likely to the Tennessee Titans, who had all hands on deck for his workout at Miami. And he put on a show. Again, you do this at pro days. This is what you're supposed to do. But, I think the alpha came out in Cam Ward a bit here, where he had a great quote. I wish we had this with Rand Carthon, funny enough. Who's now
Rand Carthon with CBS?
He's with NFL Network.
Okay, that looked like a CBS Sports Extra thing.
And he made this play. It was it? Which quarterback was it, Chad? That did? Everyone was just amazed by this throw at a pro day. Was it? BYU quarterback Kyle. I'm trying to think of his name. In
Retzlaff?
Yeah, no. He went to. I'm saying in the past, he went to the Jets, drafted by the Jets. I don't know why I can't think of his name.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Zach Wilson put on a show. Remember this? He did like a spin move and then threw across his body for 70 yards. Cam Ward had that moment, and then he said something to the Titans staff, and they asked him "What'd you say?" And he was like, "I told them I'm solidifying it today." I mean, I love that. And these Carthon's former Titans GM asking him about coverages and the level up, and he's answering all of those questions the way you want. I mean, Titans went to dinner with him Sunday night. I don't know why you wouldn't pick him at this point.
Yeah,
for a quarterback needy team.
He's certainly not hurt himself throughout this whole process.
It's a 50-50 proposition anyway. We'll talk with John McClain about that.
It just gets hard, especially when all the veteran options that could have helped your team are out the window.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers isn't considering you. It makes it, to me, a pretty easy decision that if you don't have a quarterback and you got the number 1 pick, you need to take the best available quarterback. And if that's Cam Ward, then draft Cam Ward.
There are some that believe they're bluffing, like they're trying to act like they really want him to have the price tag go up. But why? For as bad as they've been recently, and for as impatient as the owner is, they better show improvement. If you're going to show development, draft, develop, retain is their motto. Everyone wants to do that, by the way. If you're going to develop the rookie. There's no reason to go back to Will Levis at this point.
Yeah, and even if I'm not bluffing, and I will take him because I really like him.
Yeah.
If the unintended consequence of it or the reaction is that it drives the market up for a trade, great.
Sure.
Because you could always be talked out of it. I mean, if the trade is sweet enough and someone wants the guy bad enough and is willing to give up their franchise for it and you get enough first-round picks and a player or whatever you want, then I would go into everything so open-minded that I'm never locking into one thing. Like, hey, right now the plan is we really like this quarterback. We don't have a quarterback. We're going to take the quarterback, Cam Ward. And we like the kid and all that, and we feel comfortable with that. And we're going to show everyone we feel great about it. But in doing so, if someone is bound and determined and wants him that much more and offers us something we can't turn down, we'll consider it. That's the way I would go into it if I'm the Titans, and I think that's what they're doing. But Hutton, I think the end result's going to be Cam Ward will be the number 1 pick to the Titans.
They've got to take that swing. You know, and I said this a few weeks ago. The draft starts with the Cleveland Browns. Are they going to take Shedeur Sanders or not? Mm-hmm. And that's what it comes down to. Regardless of who they're signing, are they taking Shedeur Sanders or not? And is Shedeur going to call them out and say, I want to be in Cleveland? It's cyclical, Chad.
Or say he doesn't want to be in Cleveland, you're saying.
No, I'm saying I want to treat Cleveland the way I've treated Colorado. We're going to turn this around. Draft me. He needs that. That's what I said a few weeks ago. Like, if he did that, that's the equivalent. It's a step up even from Cam Ward saying, I'm solidifying this today.
And then if they don't pick him, he's like, I'm going to spend the rest of my career burning the Cleveland Browns to the ground, even further than before.
Everyone, Schefter's saying the Browns are drafting quarterback. Okay.
You can forget about that new stadium you plan on building because I'm burning the entire city to the ground if you pass on me.
Then
That's Shedeur Sanders' stance.
You end up with Shedeur and Jameis.
Shedeur turns out to be the next Phil Simms for the New York Giants. That's the way this thing's going to end.
Chad,
Jeff Hostetler.
I can't wait until this is no longer a headline with teams confirming they're going to visit the White House when asked.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're still doing that?
Yeah, Ryan Day's confirming that the college football champion, Ohio State,
Can you
will visit the
imagine
White
if
House.
Ryan Day in the state of Ohio, which voted for Trump, correct? Like, didn't they swing to Trump?
Did.
This one, yeah. I thought that was one of the swing states that went Trump, right? Tyler Castle knows. Tyler? Yeah, it's a Trump state. Yeah. I mean, the head coach of The Ohio State University, was he considering not going to visit the president?
And getting to visit?
Yeah, it's an honor to be invited. We were formally invited.
That's wearing camo, for God's sakes.
I mean,
of course he's saying
customary.
yes.
I remember growing up and watching
the headline now if you don't
the
go.
national championship teams go to the White House, and I always looked at that like, man, what an honor that would be. And
yes,
so it's part of the celebration of our team, and I think the Eagles are maybe going before us, but I think our date is April 14th. Yep. So looking forward to getting all that planned out.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely.
That's what you do. Very consistent stance on this show. You're invited to the White House to be honored. You go to the White House to be honored. Regardless of president in office, you do it. The headline is when you say no, not when you say yes.
There's one other headline. That President Trump invited the Chiefs to the White House after the Eagles visit to celebrate their 2020 championship.
Okay.
That's good.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure the Chiefs said yes. And we'll do it.
I guess. I mean, yeah.
But
if they say no, I want to hear about it.
There was like a hockey goalie one time who said no to Barack Obama. I feel like that just didn't go with the team.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That was a headline
right.
because when it's like one person on the team that feels so strongly against a president they don't go, then that's a story when that happens. But I mean, look, it's pretty
if you're invited,
simple.
go.
If you're invited by the president and you're a sports team that's won a championship and the president and the White House is honoring you, as a team, you accept the invitation. If for whatever reason, family emergency, prior obligation, whatever, sickness, you can't go and you're an individual of that team, well, that sucks for you because it's a great opportunity missed. But that's how you handle it. The team, the organization, always say yes. So Ryan Day, congratulations on doing the right thing. And wearing camo while confirming you're going to go.
Well,
a real man's man.
Did you wear camo? Camo was very popular in middle school for me.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like camo hit later in Mount Juliet.
Everyone wanted camo.
I don't know that I ever wore camo. I think I had one camo T-shirt that I may have broken out some point in high school.
I've got the camo hat here.
But I'm pretty sure that my grandfather shamed me for wearing camo.
Really?
Because the older generation feels it's disrespectful if you're not in the military and you're wearing military camo. Like that's reserved for military people to wear camo. I'm not saying our generation
right.
feels that way, but my grandfather's generation, I distinctly remember being made fun of by my grandfather for wearing a camo T-shirt. He's like, "Oh, you're a big commando now, big military guy, huh?
Rambo, huh?
Why don't you drop and give me 100?"
You going hunting?
Yeah. You little wuss.
Have you been hunting?
I've never been hunting.
I've been twice. That's it.
I never want to go hunting.
I didn't kill anything.
Yeah, no desire. Now, if you told me I could like go stalk an elephant in the wild with some some savage people that know what they're doing,
Stalk an elephant.
that's like or
Chad wants to kill a rhino.
like I said, Wedding Crashers, or a human being, the ultimate game. That sounds more exciting than sitting in a damn tree stand all morning and waiting for something to appear.
A human being.
There's nothing fun about that. The ultimate game.
You want to be on a Squid Game?
Yeah, surviving the game. Remember that with Ice-T?
What
back in the day, that
the
90s
Purge,
movie?
The Purge.
Yeah, there's been a number of there was like one like The Hunt with Betty Gilpin, an actress I like. I think that's the name of it. It's a movie like really good about rich people hunting poor people. It's a good movie for sport, Hutton.
Well, it's not hard.
It's the ultimate game.
Are they hiding out somewhere?
Oh no, they're dropping them off where they're blindfolded.
Oh,
they wake up in the wilderness and they got to go find a place to hide because someone's after them. I got to find the name of this movie. It's outstanding.
I thought about you the other day because watching the tournament, and they've got the horror movie preview on that always pops up this time of year.
Oh God, the woman in the black dress.
Yes, yeah, because you're always. I may have just ruined your primary complaint. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I've already done that one. I've already done it. Don't you worry. I'll probably hit it again at some point too.
It's an annual. Is this the time of year for? What is this always the time to?
By the way, The Hunt is the name of the movie. Here, this is it. See, waking up with like a gag stick in their mouth.
But they don't look poor.
And then
a gag stick.
Well, they something's happened that's led them.
They look
to
middle
this.
class, okay?
It's like people who took money to do it. It's very good. I highly recommend it.
So it's like,
but that's the type of hunting I'd be interested in. If you told me like, hey, we're gonna get together with some super rich people and hunt people, I was like, I wouldn't actually pull the trigger and do it. But the concept of it, as you can see, is
watch.
Just me describing
Let the boy watch.
Is way more exciting than me going and crushing light beers and sitting in a tree stand in the cold and waiting on something to appear. I want to physically stalk my prey. I don't want to sit and wait for something to happen in the cold.
You want to be the spear fisherman.
Yeah, I want like
you want to shoot the spear. You stalk and
when I see
fire.
When I see a fox dart across a road or a field, I want to see like an old British guy in a red coat with a horn with a trumpet sounding and a bunch of people behind him with a bunch of guns, old school guns and dogs. That's what I want to be a part of that crew, not the ones that's sitting still.
Funny.
I want some fat guy with a trumpet leading me on a fox hunt.
Chad is all about where the red fern grows.
Yes. That sounds fun.
Oh man,
I don't do it often, but I like to shoot guns. The whole concept of sitting somewhere in the cold for long periods of time
before the sun
waiting, there's no appeal. Fishing the same way to me. If I can walk up and down like a bank, I'll fish for a little while.
No, fish is you can like change your location fairly easily.
Yeah, but just
though.
like sitting in a boat again is just.
Well, you could do that with another person. Like you see what I'm saying? Like,
would I like go on a guided fly fishing tour in Montana? Yeah, that sounds very cool. And beautiful to do.
I would prefer fishing because you can watch a game on your phone. You can't do that in the.
But do I like my entire? I'm a complete misfit in my family because everyone in my family does everything outdoors: fish, hunt, all that stuff. Do I want to go? Do I want to go sit in a John boat with my brother Nick at 4 a.m.
Oh, shout out Nick
on Percy Priest Lake and try to catch bass?
Well, you don't have to do it at 4 a.m. though.
Hell no.
That's why I prefer it.
No,
I've been fishing a long time.
It's just not.
We should go fishing.
Not something. Yeah, let's go get some waders and go in a river somewhere, and then I'll go fish with you.
We'll go get in the Cumberland River, come back with a sickness.
Yep.
Whatever Mookie Betts has. Is
some sort of bacteria.
Yeah. John McClane's coming up.
This Mookie Betts story.
So he's scared to eat.
Is wild.
So.
Well, he can't stop throwing up. He's down to 157 pounds.
So it's, they can't figure out what is wrong with him, but, I mean, the best... It's no different than, having any medical issue in sports right now, in pro sports. You can't ask for a better chance at figuring things out with all hands on deck than being a pro athlete.
He's getting the absolute best medical attention.
Doubt. But the fact you don't know
Cedar
is
Sinai or whatever is going on in L.A. at the best hospitals, the best professionals, and they can't figure it out. Hutton, we worked with someone. I don't know if you remember this or not.
Oh, yes, I do.
We worked with someone who every day they woke up, they threw up for like 2 or 3 months straight. Could not stop throwing up every morning they woke up. And what they found was it was basically a psychological reaction. That at some point it's like PTSD.
This person rose and needed to throw up.
Yeah, but like it becomes you wake up and your mind tells you it's time to throw up because you got sick one time and then you can't avoid it. And it's like your mind is telling your body to throw up. I would look into that if I were Mookie Betts. Is there like some sort of reaction to food right now that's causing the mind is causing the body to gag reflex throw up every time he eats?
This was how long did it take for this person to?
I think there's like a pill for it.
No, I'm saying to have this diagnosis because this was an ongoing issue.
It was a similar thing. Like blood tests were fine.
Yeah.
No big issues, and then, well, I got a buddy who every time he brushes his teeth, he throws up. He like starts to gag, and one of the funniest things, like we'd like go on these houseboat trips. My buddy Evan, and every time he would like you brush your teeth off the back of the boat, and you're spitting. We'd all gather around to watch him brush his teeth, and it was just the funniest. He wouldn't actually full throw up. But the gag noises he was making as he was brushing his teeth, one of the funniest things you'll ever witness. He had a complete audience to watch him brush his teeth and make that sound.